What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. This week on Coffee and Van Chats, we chat with Adam Schepps from ButcherBox Cycling. He started pretty late in the cycling world, and now he's riding the front of some of the biggest criteriums in the country. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to Coffee and Van Chats. I'm here with Adam Schepps from ButcherBox. Adam's got a pretty cool story. He got started into cycling pretty late, and we're gonna kind of dive into that. And now this guy's riding the front of now he's riding the front of USA Crits. So yeah, tell us a bit about how you got into that, man.
Well, how I got involved with cycling, I blame my sister for most of my pain and suffering. Started off boxing. Through that, I kind of got involved in triathlon. Yeah. Triathlon was just kind of more cardio. My best friend was a pro at the time when I moved out to San Diego.
Yeah.
And then
But you were a boxer.
Yeah. I was kind of training and sparring and stuff like that. So.
Oh, right on. Like, did you ever have like a meet or anything, or?
Just like little burners at the boxing gyms and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's fun. It ends up being a lot like criterium racing, just in terms of like the focus and the intensity and how hard it is. But anyway, yeah. So I started triathlon. Triathlon was a slippery slope. And then my sister basically was like, "You hate running and swimming. Why don't you just do a bike race?" And I was like, sketchy. You guys are crashing all the time. And then I did one. I actually did my first Cat 5 crit. I did it on my cross bike with road wheels because I broke my derailleur hanger the day before. And it was just the funnest race I've ever done in my whole life. And I was hooked after that.
Yeah.
So I had a pretty big engine just from triathlon and kind of marched through the categories pretty quickly. I met Steve Cullen at Intelligentsia Cup 2016. Where I unfortunately broke my collarbone, but he was kind of like my guardian angel there and kind of took care of me, made sure I got home safely from the race, and we stayed connected. And then I guess a year later, I guest rode with ButcherBox, and then last year kind of was on the full squad. So doing it again 2020, hopefully we'll get racing again. So
yeah, that's rad. I mean, because you guys had a breakthrough season. I mean, were you a part of the Athens team?
Yeah.
Rad. So break us down with that. Cause that was pretty much when you guys hit everybody's radar. I mean, for sure at that point. I mean, you guys rode the front the majority of that crit and put somebody on the podium. So kind of give us a breakdown of what that was like being a part of a team that, threw somebody on the podium. And I mean, that was probably y'all's first real podium at a real big race like Athens.
Yeah, well, we had last year we had a really good preseason race at Birmingham. I'm not just saying that because I was in the break, but me and Spencer, got into the break off of the first race, and Spencer ended up getting second out of that. Yeah. So we thought okay, we got a good squad, and then we just pretty much got our teeth kicked in El Paso, and we kind of had to take a step back, and it was like, okay, let's kind of regroup, reorganize. And then, Athens, I feel was a big turning point where we kind of all really rallied together, and we're like, if we're going to do this, we got to do this as a team. And the team really gelled really nicely kind of during Speed Week. And, it really helped with that Athens was a big booster for us. And then from there, we rolled pretty well throughout the rest of the season. We had really good results, and we just really rode well as a team and as a squad, kind of with the same goals and everyone working for everyone else. So it was awesome last year. Last year was a blast.
No, yeah, that's super cool. I mean, I forgot all about Birmingham, but I think with Athens, just being how historic that race is and the level of fitness that everybody has coming into that race, that podium is something else. So for you guys to achieve that is super cool. So
yeah, Johnny's ride at Athens was awesome. That just embodies everything that is John Harris, and I think he gained a lot of fans from kind of his effort there.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, so kind of give me a little bit of a background on ButcherBox, because it's kind of like a tight-knit group of misfits that have turned into these like heavy hitters, in my opinion. I mean, I might be wrong and I might get some lashback on that, but
yeah,
I mean, really, like Steve Cullen has put together some guys that, I mean, you can watch. I'll put a link down in the description below, but they've done a documentary on some of these guys that have pretty much debated quitting the sport, and then they bounce back and all of a sudden they're riding the front of the USA Crits all over again. So kind of give me a breakdown of like, what's the team vibe and like, how do you guys get there?
Yeah, so I think Steve did an awesome job of assembling a squad of guys who, you know, I don't know necessarily kind of quit the sport, but maybe didn't have kind of like a solid trajectory through it, or everything kind of didn't go as planned, or they got onto some teams that kind of fell apart or kind of let them down along the way. And he just like found all these personalities and really assembled the squad where everyone kind of has their own distinct role and kind of their own distinct personality. And we all get together and get along really well. We have so much fun off the race course that really carries over into the race course. You know, just in terms of it kind of being some guys, I don't want to say like last chance, but it definitely was like a lifeboat for some guys kind of in the sport, and they've really taken it and done something really good with it. And you know, we're planning on continuing to do that this year, so we'll see if we can get back to racing. But
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I was teammates with Alex, and I think he would attest to it being a bit of a lifeboat for him. I mean,
yeah,
he said it changed his perspective on cycling completely. So, I mean, super impressed with you guys are doing. So what are you guys kind of doing to kind of stay active and kind of keep that team cohesion during COVID?
Yeah, well, we had an awesome team camp. Some of the guys came out early. It was in San Diego, thankfully, so I didn't have to go anywhere. But a bunch of guys came out early. Like Connor came out, you know, a week or more ahead of camp, and then some guys came a couple of days ahead just so we could spend more time together. Team camp was a blast. We stayed up in Carlsbad with the women's team. And then from there, we actually flew to Birmingham, wanted to find out that the race was canceled, and we got on airplanes, and everyone kind of scattered. And it was kind of sad because we were like, well, when are we going to get to see everyone again? But we're all staying connected kind of through the group chat.
The WhatsApp group chat.
We have an Instagram group chat that pretty much goes all day. Yeah, it goes all day. Who sends
the craziest messages? So you don't even have to tell me what the messages are, because I doubt I could put this on it and it would be okay for YouTube. But who sends the craziest message?
I don't know if it's crazy. Like, everyone's got such a good sense of humor that it'll be the end of the day, and you know, I might just be like kind of catching up on the 900 messages that I missed, just laughing my ass off at some of the stuff that goes on. Yeah, everyone's got a great sense of humor, and it kind of like plays off each other. And it's a blast.
So the girls team is new. So have you guys like incorporated them into this group chat, or do you kind of keep that separate? And then you also have the guys and girls group chat as well.
There is a whole family group chat.
Okay.
Which is just the fam. That is separate from kind of the boys group chat. I'm sure
I'm sure they got one too.
I'm sure they do. But we do have one that kind of comes together, which is good. We all really got along. It took a little while for the women to kind of, I don't want to say loosen up, but they got put into a house with 8 guys who love each other. And like, you know, that chemistry was already there. So I kind of felt bad for them. It was a little loud at times. But I think that kind of helped like break the ice for this new team kind of coming together. And it looks like they're having a good time as well.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So like, what's like one race? Like, let's say tomorrow, everything gets lifted, everything's back to normal. What's one race that you're looking forward to get back to with teammates?
Boise. I just love Boise. I love Boise. It was my first ride with ButcherBox. Okay. I felt like I had like an out-of-body experience my first time racing with ButcherBox there. Last year I had a great Boise as well. I don't know. I just like the atmosphere. The course suits me really well. It's just big and wide and fast and flat. And
That was a wild race this year. We'll actually post. I'm gonna put Steve Cullen on blast. Like, we'll post some video footage of that.
Boise was good. That was the first. I think that was the first time that we actually got, really assembled as a team. I think like Legion went to the front with, I don't know, 14 or 20 laps or something. And I think it was like the weekend before there was a SoCal race. And I just remember I was there racing solo, and, it was coming down to a field sprint. Legion like lined their guys up. And I was like, I wonder what this is like. And I rode up next to them, and I was like, this is doable. And so afterwards I told the guys, I was like, we can do it. We can just go train to train if we really need to. And, Legion assembled, and we were like, let's just do this. And so it was really our first shot at going with like a proper train. And I felt like we held our own, and the experience of doing that, I think really proved to all the guys, like, we can do this. We're just as strong. We just, got to practice and do it as much as we can. So started to come together like that a little more after that race also.
For sure. And that's probably like a little bit of California in you. I mean, California crits are known for like the hargy bargy. So you guys, Legion pretty well probably at this point. And I mean, like, I know Justin pretty well, and I know that like he'll give you every opportunity to ride your race, but at the same time, he's going to ride his race. Yeah. So like, as much as videos show him pushing people into barriers and doing all that craziness, like, he'll let you ride your bike race, but at the same time, like, you guys are going to be bike racing. So it's super cool to kind of see that effect.
That's definitely what we found. We found as soon as we like established ourselves as like, listen, we're just doing our train, you guys are doing your train. There was a lot less kind of like pushing and shouting. And I think Justin in the back of his train and Sam in the back of our train just kind of like yelled at everyone, like, just ride, give everyone their space, just ride. Which is just kind of like respecting the other team and like, let's drag race. Let's see if we can do it. So awesome. That was a great experience. Yeah.
Awesome. So I got to hear it, because we've been putting Steve Cullen on blast, but what's your craziest Steve Cullen story on the road?
Craziest Steve Cullen story on
That's the road. Somewhat PG-13. I mean, I know that guy's crazy, so somewhat PG-13.
Let's see here. Steve, me and Steve kind of have a little tradition where he always pins my number, and part of that process is pinning it through my skin. Oh, yeah, he did it the first time by accident. I didn't say anything, and then I think there's just some blood coming through my skin suit. And he was kind of like, we both kind of looked at each other, was like, this is probably going to be a thing now.
So did you not say anything because you were just like, I don't want to like look weak or anything? Is that why you didn't say anything?
I didn't realize, like, you kind of like feel the pinch, and then you're just like, but it actually had like gone through and out the other side.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that's kind of a thing that we have. It's a special bond that we have with Steve, but having Steve on the radio is just, it's like a blessing. It's the best. It's the best.
I feel like that would be like watching the NFL, like coach talk to quarterback mockery. Like, I think this year, if anything, if we can get Steve's voice recording and chat to you guys in the last, 10, 15 laps, I feel like that would be great content for everybody in the world.
Yeah. Well, in that American Crit 2, you can kind of hear some of the radio chatter. Chatter. And that guy does a great job of giving you like just enough facts. He kind of lets you know where everyone is at all times. There's times where it's just race, and I'm like, Steve, where were you standing on course? Because you saw everything. And there might be a time where like I'm working the front and I'm like, all right, I got to take a breath. And I go back and I hear the radio like, Schepps, where the fuck are you? I'm like, oh shit, I got to get back up there. And it's just like, it provides like just enough fire and motivation and confidence and facts. It's like this like perfect combo that, and he's like talking the entire race, and it takes a lot of the decision making out because you just are just doing whatever he says. And it's, for someone like me where I prefer that, I love it. And I think it's really helped me tremendously in a lot of these races. So I'm very thankful to have that guy out in the year the whole time.
Yeah, right on. Like, and I think I'm like one of those guys that kind of got started late, but you're definitely one of those guys that got started
Yeah.
late. And not only did you get started late, but I think if somebody told you to jump, you just pretty much asked how high. And that's how you learned so quick. So kind of break us down of a few of the people that like you would kind of attribute that success to, because it's not easy riding the front. Like I had a few mentors trying to teach me how to ride the front while I was trying to race on the track, and it wasn't simple. So
No.
how did you figure that out, and how did that click with you?
Well, first, it's the guys that I started training with out here for triathlon. I kind of fell into this group called Breakaway Training. Um, my my best friend Chris Berg was a pro triathlete at the time. There was an Olympic rower named Luke Walton, who had gotten pretty heavy into triathlon. He was coaching with that group also, and then the guy that ran the group named Felipe Lorero. Three of like my best friends out here just kicked my ass week in and week out. And I'd show up to like,
Right on.
the Saturday group ride, like I just want to ride with my friends, and I would just get dropped immediately. And I just kept showing up and kept like pushing and working and like holding on a little more. So number one is definitely those guys and that kind of whole crew. Because it was a real steep learning curve to kind of catch up to these people that have been doing it, athletics at a super high level their whole life. And then kind of once I made the transition into bike racing, my brother-in-law, Daniel Holloway, was, I was definitely very lucky to have someone like that in my corner that I could talk to before a race, talk to after a race, kind of debrief. He makes everything like way simpler when you break down like, oh, this happened. And then he's just like, well, why don't you just do A, B, and C? And I'm like, oh, gosh,
trust me, I know, man.
Yeah. Gosh, it's so much simpler. But he's seen it. Like that guy's done like thousands of races. He's seen like hundreds of thousands of corners, and he's got like instant race recall, and he can just remember every road surface on every course that he's ever raced his whole life in both directions. So kind of like really listening to what he has to say, I think helped a whole lot. And then really trying hard not to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, just like putting in the work is huge. You can have, you can have really good mentors and stuff like that, but if you're not really willing to grind it out and put in the work and be prepared to like suffer and fail a couple times, I don't think you're going to make any progress. So.
No, yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, I mean, like even me when riding with Roadhouse, like I mean Holloway, Hedgeberry, those guys, like beating it into my brain, and like I said before, like it didn't click with me right away, and so that's why I've been super impressed watching you race with ButcherBox and seeing that happen and that unfold, because I mean it seems like it's clicked and it seems like it's worked. I mean,
yeah, and the guys on the team, I'm constantly asking for feedback. I'm constantly saying, what can I do better? Or what should I do here? Like, what's going on here? What are you thinking here? What were you thinking here? That's all I want to do is improve and be able to ride for the boys to the best of my ability. And I think they all recognize that and understand that and have been awesome in kind of supporting me and like knowing that I'm here to kind of grow and learn and support to the best I can. Yeah, everyone's been so awesome. So.
Yeah, it's been super cool to watch you grow. And I mean, like for people saying age is the thing, like I think you've made it, like I mean, you've grown, like you've literally every year you've gotten better. So I know we talked about like one of your favorite races was Boise, but like what was a goal for you? Like because I know I could see you being a selfless dude at the same time and being like, yeah, I'd ride for Sam, or I'd ride for Connor at Boise. But like, what was a goal for you? Like, what was a winning race for you that you were like, I'm going to go to this race and I'm going to win it. I'm going to give it my all. And I'm going to win it. Like, what was that race for you this year?
Man, I don't really have that attitude kind of going into races. I think I know where my strengths lie.
Yeah.
And if I can go in and like execute on the game plan and do my job 100%, then that, to me, that's a win. I feel like just as stoked for Connor if, he's able to to win that I do probably, you know, for any of the guys on the team or myself, as long as I was there, you know, going in, executing the plan and kind of doing it as best I could. So
For
everyone
sure.
on the team has really good defined roles. And I think when everyone really takes that seriously and executes, you know, that's a win for me.
So who lays out those roles? Like, because you know, I know Steve Cullen just from past and racing him in the 2.3s, you know, when we were coming up through
Yeah.
the sport, and like he was pretty much like, it was like one day he was racing and the next day he was like race director aficionado. So like, does Steve have any help from the racers, or like you guys as a group? Like, who would you call the team captain on ButcherBox right now?
I would say Connor. I always turn
Connor?
to Connor. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The guy is a straight shooter. Definitely
Yeah,
tells it
yeah.
like tells it like it is. Um, you know, I really love the guy. I think it kind of depends on which side of his team you were on.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, maybe if you raced against him, you might not like him, but if you're on team with him, you know, you probably have a different perspective.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, he's out there racing bikes. I mean, not
yeah,
everybody's gonna like him, right? I mean, because
yeah,
we've had some bumping and grinding in some bike racing, and at the end of the race, we just kind of let it go. I mean,
yeah. I
we
mean, you
just
could
let
say
it
that.
be.
I'm sure you could say that about a lot of people in the
Oh
peloton.
yeah,
So.
for sure, for sure. I mean, it's a bike race. Like, we're out there to win. We're out there to see our team win, and so the moment anybody affects that, you're gonna be hostile. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
the way it is.
yeah. There's a lot of fuck guy, you know, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
so
And then the next thing you know, you're teammates with them like the next year. Like, I think that's always the funny thing to me, is like when I've seen guys be like, "Oh, I hate that guy," and then the next thing you know, they're
yeah,
teammates with them, and then they're best friends, and they kind of work it out, and they understand that it's just bike racing. It's just
yeah.
bike racing.
Most of the people you think are total assholes, you just need to get a drink with and kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like, you know, hang out with them and just see them kind of outside of the race, and you'll have a different perspective.
yeah.
But then again, there are some people who are just total pricks. So
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. So now that all being said, so like, what are you doing in this time? Because like, I think everybody's kind of handling it differently, and people are doing Zwift. I'm not doing Zwift. I love Zwift. I think it's a great platform, but when it comes to bike racing on Zwift, it's not going to work for me. I don't know about you, but yeah. So what are you doing to kind of just like keep motivated, keep fit, and kind of keep going on?
yeah, well, I held off the Zwift thing for a very long time.
Yeah,
A very long time. Because I live in Southern California, so why would I ever need to ride the trainer?
that is a perfect point. Yeah,
Right. However, you know, two of my friends, you know, I was doing a ride a couple weekends ago. My girlfriend Laura was out here and we were riding back, and I was like, oh, let's go say hi to Courtney and Jamie. And we rolled up and they had told me that they were riding indoors exclusively. And I was like, ah, you guys are crazy. But then they kind of put into perspective is like the last thing you want to do is, you know, wash out or crash or get hit by a car and end up in the hospital. And, you know, I was like, shit, okay. And then like Spain went on total lockdown.
yeah,
So I thought, okay, let me just order a smart trainer just in case we go total lockdown. And then there was like a really rainy week when it came, and I was like, let me try this Swift thing. And I love it way more than I thought I was going to. I'm
Oh,
almost
really?
embarrassed by how much I like it. It is hard. It's awful. It's brutal. I
It's
feel like,
okay. This is going to go out to millions of people. They're all going to hear that Adam loves Zwift, and you all can
yeah,
make fun of him on the
yeah,
internet.
yeah. I think I love it because it's like a total ass kicking.
Yeah, yeah.
You're guaranteed to get your ass kicked, whether you do it to yourself or someone else does to you, and whether or not that someone else is honest about their height and weight, or you know, if their power meter's calibrated, it doesn't really matter, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of view it like CrossFit. There's some people who that's their sport, like Zwift is their sport, and there's some people who do it because it's kind of training for something else, and that's how I view it.
Yeah.
I view it as like it's training for something else. It's not really crit racing because
Yeah.
you're never like off the pedals. There's no cornering. There's no tactics. I mean, there's a little bit of tactics, but for the most part, it's just who can put out the most power. Um, but it's
Whoever's the
really,
lightest.
yeah, or whoever's the lightest. So Yeah, for some reason, like all the jockeys seem to have found their way onto Zwift from all over the world. It's incredible.
Yeah. It is wild to think about. It's like you see these names of like the number one Zwift rider in the world, and you're like, who is this guy? And then you see somebody post a status, it's like, oh, that guy can't even break into the Cat 3s, and it's like, oh man, well, I mean, everybody has their own niche, you know.
Yeah,
so like
it's
you
just
can't fault them for it.
It's almost just like a different sport. Like if I hopped onto a BMX track, I get totally toasted. I probably wouldn't even make it out alive at this point, right? It's just kind of like a different. You're pedaling on a bicycle, but it's just a different format at this point. And so that's been fun trying to kind of figure it out and getting some good workouts in on there and just trying to keep that kind of randomized intensity up, because that's hard to replicate on your own.
For sure. So we're about to get wrapped up here and just kind of close out. I don't want to keep you for too long. But yeah, just one more thing. If there's anything that you would recommend to somebody that's starting late, or like, cause like, I mean, bikes are flying off the shelves. Like, what's your recommendation to somebody that's buying a road bike and that's wanting to get into racing, but really doesn't know where to start, you know?
Yeah. Reach out, contact me. I was, like I said, I was super grateful that I kind of had these people that I could kind of turn to, one, to really kind of help boost my fitness, two, to kind of like provide some sort of guidance on the race course. But a lot of it is just going out there, working hard, asking questions, kind of not being afraid to kind of try, and even just racing on your own. I raced my first 2.5 seasons just kind of solo as this person that was just like, I'm just showing up. I don't have a team. I'll just figure it out. So it's a lot of it's just like not being afraid to fail and pinning on a number and going and learning and then just trying to not make the same mistake twice. It's pretty big.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I think you've been like super humble during this entire conversation, because like I would have loved to have dived into more, but that just gives us a reason to have another chat.
Anytime.
Because I feel like honestly, man, you have a pretty cool story. It's not like you lost like a gajillion pounds, or you rode with one leg or anything super crazy, but I mean, you have a cool story where you pretty much like never gave up. Like you just never gave up when people told you, yeah, it's probably not going to work out, or you just never gave up. And now you're riding for like one of the better crit teams in the country right now. And I think that's super cool. But anyways, thanks so much, Adam, for joining.
Dude, no problem.
Joining
Thanks
me
for
on
having me.
Yeah. And
I'm actually not drinking coffee. I'm drinking some Mortal Kombucha.
Oh yeah. I gotta throw that in.
Check that out, Mortal Kombucha.
I'm not drinking coffee either. I'm just having a beer because it's super late. But thanks for joining for the chat, man. And hopefully we can get you back on and you can bring me some Mortal Kombucha, because I know that stuff is good. And I heard that they're actually making an alcoholic adult beverage version.
They are, and it's very tasty. It's very tasty.
So we got to make sure that we try that.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.